So today I'm going to be talking about focusing on people. I had somebody tell me that I'm really passionate about in-store operations, and I corrected them. That's actually not true. What I'm most passionate about is people, taking people and watching them grow and develop and become a better version of themselves today than they were yesterday. I just happen to work for Subway. Now, I love the brand, but I love the people within the brand more. So, Brandon got done talking about place, we have processes, and then we have people. This is not unique to Subway. Every single organization has these three things, but what I believe makes organizations stand out is when they do this one thing, they put people first. And again, I hope that you'll hear this. I'm really passionate about this one topic. So I will talk about and begin talking about the people, and then I have an accountability program, if you will, that I'm going to talk about in the latter half of the program. So we all want engaged employees, obviously. That's not a surprise, but how do we get there? So engaged employees who feel supported by their company, brand, provide a better overall customer experience. And listen to this last part, because they care about the customer experience in the same way that you, the franchisee, and you, the store managers, care for them. We're going to get there through investing in people, and specifically the most important people within the brand, which is our sandwich artists. Our sandwich artists are the direct connection between our brand and our customers, and they deserve your attention, they deserve your investment. So many of you already do this really well. When I first started working for Subway, I asked this question over and over. What is the mission? What is the mission of our brand? And then more importantly, just for me personally, what is the mission of our small organization, Subway JPW, the development agent? And the thing that I continually heard, and then I started saying myself, is that we are in the business to help franchisees make more what? Make more money, exactly. So in my opinion, that's really, really important, but it lacked purpose. I believe that the mission must be the people, because if you focus and invest on your people, you will have better sandwich artists, which will lead to better teams, and better teams, as you know, will lead to a better guest experience, and a result of that is making more money. But money cannot be, in my opinion, the purpose. It can't be our mission. So I hear this often, and I don't mean to be insensitive to a real struggle in our industry, but what if I can't find the right people? What if I can't find the right people? Maybe you've said that. I don't, again, want to be insensitive to that being a real struggle within the brand, within your stores, within our industry. Rather, I want to change the way you think that. I want to change your perspective. Rather than asking that question, what if I can't find the right people? What if we started saying, what would it look like for me to invest in my people? So how can I add value to the people that already exist within my organization? Here's what I know. Bosses, they place blame. They don't take responsibility. Bosses place blame. Leaders take responsibility. So here's my sandwich artists just don't know how to smile. When we take responsibility as a leader, that turns into, I have not led my sandwich artist to extend an exceptional guest experience. What type of training do you guys offer consistently talking about enhancing the guest experience? The second one up there, my sandwich artists just don't know how to clean. That turns into, with our new perspective, I've not given clear expectations nor created accountability toward the cleanliness in my restaurant. And the last one, my sandwich artists just don't care. Turns into, I have not cared enough about my team for them to care about my business. So again, what would your organization look like if you simply owned 51% of all of the problems that you face? This is not new. This is not surprising. What are employees looking for? They're looking for compensation, but that's not all they're looking for. They're looking for alignment. They're looking for a certain type of culture within your restaurant. They're looking for growth. This doesn't just mean growth within your organization. This means personal and professional growth. They're looking for you to delegate responsibility and trust, not just a to-do list or a cleaning list. They want clear communication from all the leaders within the organization. They want clear communication and expectations. And they also want to be acknowledged for when they do a good job. Not simply good job, but actually being specific in something that they did and saying good job with whatever it may be that they did. So this begs the question for us all to ask, am I the employee or I'm sorry, am I the employer that my employees are even looking for? The only way to attract and retain great people is to offer a culture that other employees who want those same employees just cannot extend and they cannot match. So culture is a buzzword. I'm confident you guys have heard it, but let's collectively just kind of define that for the purpose of this presentation. Defining culture is hundreds of things that you don't necessarily have to see, but they're seen. They live within your organization. It is what is most important to you, the franchisee. You can see it without having to see it. So in February or earlier this year, I had the privilege to take my family to Disney World. It was kind of a mountaintop experience for me as a parent to see my little girl meet Minnie and Mickey. Now, if you think about their culture, if you knew nothing about Disney and you spent about 30 minutes at Disney World, what would you assume would be the most important thing to the organization Disney? The guest experience, exactly. They're known for being the happiest place on the planet, right? You don't need to read that on a reader board. You know it exists within their organization simply by being there for a few minutes. Zappos is an online shoe company. What Zappos is incredibly passionate about is finding the right people. It's part of their culture. That means they have an extensive interview process. If you make it through the interview process and you get hired on, but within the first 7 days, you're not a good fit, you don't fit into the team, or you simply just don't like the job, they will give you $2,000 to leave their team because they believe and they don't want a bad apple within their organization for more than 7 days. So they give you $2,000 just to leave because they believe finding the right people creates the right team, and the right team creates the right type of guest experience, and the right guest experience creates, or a result of that is, making more money. Are some of you guys writing that down? Are you going to $2,000 for those to leave? Yeah. The second organization that I've got up there, Warby Parker, is this company that will send you frames for your glasses. You try them on, you pick out which ones you like, you send it back to them, they'll put your prescription in, they send it back to you, all from the convenience of sitting on your couch, okay? But what they are really passionate about is community and fun. So they have an entire team and a very large budget dedicated to community events. It's just part of their culture. There is always something on the calendar for employees to look forward to, okay? We at Subway JPW, Brandon said it already, our core value is that people matter. Now, I want the people that work for Subway JPW, our small organization, our team, I want them to believe that without a shadow of a doubt. Not just from 9 to 5, but I want them to believe that past our normal operating hours. And so what we do is every month, we pay for a date night. And a date night simply means that they are going out with someone, having a meal. It could be a spouse, it could be someone in their family, it could be a neighbor, it could simply be a friend. But here's what I know. If people have deep, meaningful relationships outside of work, they will be more productive and they would buy into our mission as an organization more likely. Okay, that's the result. But our purpose, our core value is that people matter. Next up, I'm super excited for you guys to get the opportunity to hear from a good friend of mine. She is a franchisee that owns 3 restaurants. She does this so well. At the core of who she is, people matter. And part of her culture is simply creating this family-like atmosphere with her people. So take a look at the slides. Pam, thank you for being here with me today, and I believe that this interview will be added value to our roadshow, and I believe that our franchisees in the audience, and even our store managers in the audience, are going to take a lot away from this interview. So you are a Subway franchisee. I know that keeps you very, very busy, but outside of work, Who is Pam?
Okay, Pam is a wife, a mother of 3 children. I have 2 boys and a girl, grown children, and I have 6 grandchildren. They call me Nana. They range from age 5 months to 4 years old, so they're busy little people, and they're a lot of fun. We do a lot of sports together. We have snowmobile trips in the winter, and we do a lot of boating in the summer. And I'm a golfer. My husband and I golf. And if I'm not working, which majority of the time I'm working, but when I'm not, I love to be with my grandchildren. Yeah. I just keep going. Yeah. When you mentioned this interview, one of the things I wanted to talk about that really had an impact on my life was about 7 years ago, I read a book by John Gordon. It's called One Word. And every year, around fall to winter, like November, I start praying about a word that I will use for that following year to be my focus. And the very first word I used was grateful. And I just want to tell you that I'm so grateful to be a part of Subway, and especially the Wilhelm team.
Yeah, well, Pam, we're grateful to have you as a franchisee, and I believe that as an organization, as a brand, we're better off because of you and the type of franchisee and just the type of person that you are. So thank you for being on our team.
Well, thank you.
When did you become a Subway franchisee and why?
Okay, well, about 7 years ago, I retired from my first job as an athletic director at Lutheran High School, junior high. I was there for 16 years, and I retired because my 3 children decided to all get married within 7 months of each other. We had a summer wedding, a fall wedding, and a winter wedding, and we had the time of our lives. It was so much fun. And my daughter got married on January 22nd, and when the wedding was over, I thought, uh-oh, now what am I going to do? So I really started praying for God to open a door for me. And it just so happened my son's friend called me and said he had a Subway downtown and he needed someone to help him run it. So I jumped in.
Yeah, and during that time, I was your field consultant, and so I loved, first of all, just meeting you and the energy that you brought to it, and then seeing you roll your sleeves up and get on the line and just be with your people. That was really fun for me to see.
Well, it was all brand new to me. There were some tough times in the beginning. I went to Connecticut. My second day in Connecticut, I received a phone call. Probably the worst day of my life. My 10-month-old grandson, they found him in his crib with sudden infant death syndrome, and I had to come home. So it happened to be a blizzard in Connecticut that day. It took me about 24 hours to get home. What would have been a 2-hour cab drive to New York ended up being an 8-hour cab drive. I missed my train. I missed my first plane. They closed all the airports. I ended up in Grand Central Station alone. But I made it home. I made it home the next day from Newark, New Jersey. I don't know how, but $2,000 later and 24 hours later, I was coming home. And that was a really tough time for me. But I want to say, though, that the people in Connecticut were wonderful. I could have never gotten through the first 24 hours without them. My word for that year happened to be purpose. I started thinking about what my purpose was, and I read a very important quote. It's don't focus on building your business, focus on using your business to serve, love, and care for others. And your business will grow exponentially.
Yeah. If I can respond to that, I, from afar, can remember that season for you and your family. And it was heartbreaking, and I'm so sorry that heartache and pain that you guys went through. In the midst of that, your faith and your resilience, you kind of ended that with talking about your purpose and your focus on other people. And I just want to restate the quote that you had said is, don't focus on building your business, focus on using your business to love, serve, and care for others. Your business will then grow exponentially. And that's such an other-centered focus that I believe is countercultural, but that's again what makes you unique and so good at what you do, because I believe that your mission is the people. It's not necessarily the money. The results of having a mission and purpose for the people, I believe, is making more money. And regardless of whether you were in Subway or doing something else, people are going to want to follow you. Now, selfishly, I'm happy that you're on our team and that you're with Team Subway.
Thank you.
And we know, just as part of our industry, we know that hiring and recruiting is a struggle for so many franchisees, but you do something that's a little bit different in the way that you recruit and hire. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, about 4 years ago, I met a man named David. He was a regular customer at the downtown Subway. He always came in for his tuna fish on flatbread and 2 oatmeal cookies. And one day I was talking to him, and I was frustrated because I was having a hard time finding employees, and I didn't realize that that was part of his role. He worked at the Rockford Rescue Mission. So we struck up a friendship, and he would let me know every time there was someone that had graduated or was graduating from the Rockford Rescue Mission and was ready to come out into the workplace. And so this friendship has really been beneficial to me. I've received quite a few employees from him. And I want to tell you, those employees are so grateful for the second chance. And it warms my heart to know that I am giving them that second chance. And they're hardworking. They're eager to prove that they're ready to do this, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud to work alongside of them.
Yeah, and I love that what I know about you is that you don't see people for who they've been or who maybe their past is. When you see someone, you genuinely can see who they are becoming. So Pam, from your perspective, what is the most important thing that a franchisee can do for their employees?
Well, it goes back to that quote. It's rather simple. Just love, serve, and care for them as you would your customers. Be grateful for them. Build a relationship with them. I have a relationship with every one of my employees. I recognize their birthdays. I take them home when they need rides home. I try to make them feel appreciated every day.
Yeah, well, that's really good. And I think so often we can be focused on finding the right people rather than focused on pouring into the people that we already have. And that really leads in well to my next question. And you already hit on it. You guys have fun together. So what do you do outside of work that fosters team building within your staff?
Okay, well, they have the Coke bottle names on the Coke bottles. So every summer I tell them once they've found every one of our names, we go on a boating trip, and then I take them to one of the 2 restaurants that's on the Rock River. And every year, my name is the hardest name to find, Pam.
Yeah.
You would think one year, easy, right? One year Heather found it at a Walgreens on East State somewhere. So they're out looking for. They're so excited to do this. They're out looking for the names so that we can get all the names. And then when we take our boat trip, we bring a cooler with our bottles of Coke, and I always take a picture of them holding their Coke.
You obviously do a very, very good job, not just being a boss, but actually leading the people that work for you, and there's no doubt that they love working for you. I see it in their faces. They value being here, being a part of this culture, this family culture that you've created. So thank you for allowing me to take up some of your time, and I really do believe that our audience is going to be better for it.
Thank you.
My name is Rachel Yandel. I worked here at Subway for 2 years. I got connected with Pam when I was at the Rockford Rescue Mission. I ended up there because I struggled with substance abuse for 6 years. I lost my children, I lost my house, my car, and ended up in jail for a period of time. I finally hit my bottom and ended up at the Rockford Rescue Mission. In there, I did a class with a gentleman that helps people that have a past find a new job, a new way of life. And that's how I was introduced to Pam. And I never imagined sitting down and being interviewed for a job ever again because I thought I was so lost because of all the things that I had done and been through. God literally came into my life and intervened and took over and made me new. And Pam saw me for the new me. She didn't care about what I had done or where I had been. She didn't care I didn't have my kids. She didn't even ask any questions. She hired me on as a part-time employee, soon bumped me up to full-time. I now have a key to the restaurant, something that I never in my a million years thought I would get a key to anywhere. Since I've been working here, I have my own apartment, I have my own car, I see my kids every weekend, I go to church every Sunday. Pam believing in me and seeing something in me made me want to push harder. I have almost 3 years clean and sober, and I believe that if I hadn't have got this job and saw that, God uses people and he puts people in people's lives, and I believe he put Pam in my life. I walk with my head held high today because I'm not who I was before. I'm a totally new person. Pam makes it very clear that we're not just coworkers, we're a family. And for birthdays, Christmas, she treats us as if we're her children. She does plan like picnics, and we do a boat trip every summer, and that her husband's also involved in that. So he sees us as her family also. It's not just her. I'm grateful for working for Team Subway. I'm grateful for my coworkers. I'm grateful to work for a lady like Pam.
Employees are the single biggest driver of both positive and negative guest experiences. Research shows that winning here is a clear differentiator. In our study, the brand with the top-rated employees also had the top-rated experience. Getting employee engagement right can be a big challenge. In fact, it is never easy. That said, international and national studies show that investment in people can generate high returns. Increased employee engagement is accompanied by a 12% increase in customer satisfaction and 6% higher net profit margins.
So investing in people isn't necessarily a question of if, it's more of a question of how. How can we invest? And again, many of you do that so well already, but how can you take another step in the right direction to investing in your people? The way that Pam leads her organization is inspiring. The way that Rachel, she was given new hope through Pam, but Pam was able to extend this new hope to her through a change in her perspective, the perspective to the problem. And isn't that true, that the very thing that typically stands between the problem and the solution is the perspective that we have? I'm going to pull out this slide here. The most important quality to a restaurant guest. You know this because you are a guest at several other restaurants. This is across the restaurant industry. The most important thing is that your staff is happy, friendly, and attentive to the customer. Your investment in people, in your people, is what I believe makes this happen. Another slide shared that increased employee engagement is accompanied by a 12% increase in customer satisfaction. And this research from Deloitte is something that we can't neglect or disregard. Training is another way that you invest in your people. Your people want to be trained correctly. Organizations with strong learning cultures have a higher productivity and are better able to meet future demands. For Subway University, as you can see on the left-hand side there, the higher the completions per month, higher AUV. There's a correlation between training in our restaurants and lack of training. So we are moving from an operation focus to a culture of learning. And so I've got some text up there. Formulas, bread baking, cleaning lists. Those are all really, really important. But what if our focus was on helping our sandwich artists become better leaders, helping our sandwich artists to be better problem solvers, developing empathy in our sandwich artists and store managers, helping them with their communication skills, teaching them how to receive feedback and give feedback. Everyone in this room that works behind the counter has an opportunity to empathetically, professionally, and appropriately respond to a customer that is giving you some negative feedback. This happens weekly or maybe even daily for you, but it's in your perspective. It's an opportunity to learn how to develop that empathy. On the top, the formulas, bread baking, cleaning list, again, those are important. But if you can think of coming to an interview, I'm going to interview for a job, and I tell you that when you work here at Subway, you're going to know exactly how many slices of turkey go on a foot-long deluxe sub. And you'll know exactly which way to place that cheese. And you will know exactly what golden brown looks like when that bread comes out of the oven. And you will be so good at cleaning toilets that you will be able to go anywhere and clean toilets, right? That's kind of hopeless. But if I tell you that when you work for me here at Subway, you're going to have that opportunity to develop empathy. You're going to have that opportunity to learn how to receive feedback and give feedback. Feedback, on a side note, is something that I believe is countercultural when you see it done correctly. If you were to ask anyone on our team, from Jeff or Phoebe or any one of our field consultants, what's one thing that has been a top focus of this last year? And they'll probably share a couple different things with you, but I'm convinced that one thing that would be consistent is our focus on feedback. Because when it's done correctly, when someone receives the negative feedback correctly and they respond empathetically and understandingly, and then when they give you feedback as well, it's countercultural. That kind of stands out. And if you have an entire team that knows how to do that, you stand out, because our culture, the world that you and I live in, tell us not to share feedback directly, tells us to talk behind that person's back, right? We have that opportunity at Subway. The bottom skills help us collectively tie our vocational purpose today and the vocational purpose of our sandwich artists today to their future hopes and dreams. So where do we start? This is for some of you, not all of you. This is for some of you. I want to unapologetically challenge you to change your attitude. Okay? We have to stop placing blame and complaining about our industry, complaining about our restaurants, complaining about our DA's office, or complaining about FWH. We have to trust in their leadership, and they are doing a lot of great things for the brand. We're excited for many of them. If you're a franchisee, we got to stop blaming our store managers and blaming our sandwich artists. If you're a store manager, we need to stop blaming our sandwich artists. If we're sandwich artists, we need to stop blaming our franchisees. We need to focus 90% of our attention on what we can control. Or you're going to hear from John Casper on some brand updates, and John is a very energetic guy. You're going to hear from Dave. Dave's a really energetic guy, but Dave can't inspire your sandwich artist. He can't pour into your sandwich artist, right? Only the franchisees and the store managers in this room can do that. That's one of the things that only you can do. If you're an MUO, then you have people that you trust that you need to lead through to pour into your sandwich artist. So we need to focus 90% of the attention to the things that only we can control. That goes for everyone, for the field consultants, for people at FWH, people in the DA's office, and franchisees. Next, we need to identify our core value. I'm a millennial, so I'm going to tell you, I'm a student to this. I'm a millennial, so I'm going to tell you to go Google it. Google culture and identifying what our core value is. There's lots of things, lots of books, lots of resources for you that can walk you through that. And then you reinforce it through policy, procedures, and interaction with your people. And let me talk to the store managers in the room. Store managers, don't be afraid to lead up in your organization and you be the one that changes or creates that culture and embraces it and enforcing it, because your franchisee will catch on. Finally, all of us, what we need to do is we need to endlessly and consistently pursue the people in your organization. And if you don't know if you do this well, ask the people in your organization. Give them an anonymous survey, and I guarantee you that they will give you feedback on if you do this well. The reality is that we can all do this better. So this is a purpose of mine. This is something I'm really passionate about. And just a couple weeks ago, I was challenged by almost half of my staff gave me some direct feedback, which one tells me that the culture that we're creating, that feedback matters and it's important, is there. But I had almost half of our team say, Mike, you could do a better job having a weekly contact with us. We get together once a month. I work in the stores a couple times a month with them. But they said, you can do a better job with a weekly contact. And then the excuses started. Yeah, but we're in Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin, right? That's an excuse. Yeah, but we only see each other once a month. Okay, but that's not the way you receive feedback. So I thanked all of them. We talked through a process that would fix that. And so every Monday, I'll be calling my team and asking them 2 questions. The first one is for me. What are you working on this week? Helps with accountability. And the second one is, what can I do for you? Okay? So we're on this journey to elevate the brand, to create a new name for Subway, if you will. And in this room, I believe that the number one focus to elevate that brand must be through investing in your people, making people your mission, specifically an investment in the sandwich artists within your business. I talked to a franchisee just on Friday, and it was, quite frankly, it was kind of a downer conversation. And when I asked, I was sharing a best practice with him. And I said, here's a task that you could delegate and trust your store manager with. And you know what his response was? I have nobody of value that works for me. I have nobody of value within my organization. Now, who's the problem there? It's the franchisee or the sandwich artist? Well, I'll let you decide, but I believe that that particular situation is the franchisee. Our motto must be people first. If we put people first, we will have better sandwich artists lead to better teams lead to better guest experience, and a result of all of that, I believe, is making more money.